Hi, it's the M.L.M for the Soul Channel. I do have a new topic for today. Before I begin, I just would like to say, may the words and expressions of my mouth and the thoughts and meditations of my heart find favor and acceptance for you, Hashem. And some people I thank have inspired me. Hope they can inspire you as well. And I will have links below the studio to their sites. Rabbi Shalom Arush, Rabbi Lazer Brody, Rabbi Yosef Mizrahi, Rabbi Eli Mansour, Rabbi Lon Anavar, Rabbi Yuval Ovadia, Rabbi Daniel Asser, Nisan Baruch Black, Rabbi Michael Skobach, Jews for Judaism, Rabbi David Usher, Rabbi Ron Ruvain, and Rabbi Yosef Chesney. As well, if you've never checked out the channel before, I will have a link below to my first video, which explains what M.L.M for the soul means, what it stands for, what I'm doing. So this is again taken from the Tiferes Yosef by Rabbi Yosef Chesney. And again, we have a double portion. This week it's Parashat Behar-Bechukosai, or Bechukotai, depends how you pronounce it, the Sephardi way or the Ashkenaz way. And I call this How to Sympathize with Others. So this is again Rabbi Chesney saying this. Anytime I read, unless I'm telling you it's from me, I should just make that known now. And same with anyone else. I would like to share a fascinating story that someone once conducted. He entered a restaurant and approached a few different customers saying, "I am starving. I haven't eaten all day. I have no money. Can you share some of your food with me?" This eatery was frequented by wealthy men as well as by the poor. The purpose of the study was to show who would be more generous. The results were surprising. The rich eater didn't share it all or shared a minute amount. In contrast, the poor patrons cut their sandwiches in half and shared them. What is the reason for this phenomenon? The explanation is simple. A rich man has never experienced the pain of hunger. They have never been limited due to lack of funds. Thus, they don't have the capacity to sympathize with a hungry pauper. So the Ben Ish Chai writes that this is the purpose of Shemitah. Shemitah is a time when they have to have, well, it explains it. I should just let it just read. So, in order to properly support the poor, a wealthy landowner has to be able to sympathize with others. If he were never to experience poverty, he would be unable to do this. Thus, the Torah instructs him that once every 7 years they should close their business. That's what Shemitah is. And when they need food, they should go out to the field to collect from Hefker. Hefker just means anyone could take it, like the poor. In this way, they can experience what it means to live in poverty. And they will be able to sympathize with the poor. There is a famous fable that illustrates this point well. It was a cold winter day. The thermometer read below zero. Yet there were many poor people who were unable to afford firewood with which to warm their homes. They stood in their homes in their winter coats shivering away. So the Rav realized that he had to do something. He approached the home of a wealthy individual and knocked on the door. The Gvir, which is the wealthy man, opened the door and invited the Rav into his warm home. The Rav didn't budge. He started up a conversation while standing on the porch. After a few minutes, the wealthy man began to shiver and begged the rabbi to enter his warm house. Once again, the rabbi remained rooted in his spot. A half hour passed. By now, this rich man's ears were frozen and his lips had turned blue. I'm sure not as blue as my shirt, but this is blue, but yeah, you could kind of... probably it's more like black and blue kind of thing. So he begged the rabbi to come in. This time he acquiesced. Upon sitting down next to the warm fireplace, the rabbi began his appeal on behalf of the poor. And the Gvir took the Rav to his woodshed and donated graciously to this cause. So he then asked the Rav, "Why did you insist on staying outside? Couldn't we have had this conversation inside my warm home?" The rabbi replied, "I knew that in order for you to give generously, you needed to experience the cold firsthand. If we want to be able to truly help others, we need to share in their experiences. If we can't do that, at the very least, we should spend time contemplating what this person endures. Through this, we will be able to better help them. So many times we go through difficult situations. Many people get absorbed in self-pity. People of greatness take advantage of this situation to sympathize with others who are suffering from the same issues and to have compassion on them. They do whatever they can to alleviate the pain of others. So the Torah instructs us to love foreigners who come to dwell amongst us, for you are foreigners in Mitzrayim. In other words, our experience as foreigners obligates us to have sympathy and compassion on others going through the same situation. There are many examples of this. Many Baalei Tshuva, that's people who return and are following now the ways of Hashem, and before they kind of veered off the path, as you could say. After experiencing a life lacking meaning, upon becoming frometh, means, observant, they devote their lives to helping people less fortunate than them find their way to the meaningful life of Yiddishkeit, which means living as a Jew. Many people who have experienced difficulty start organizations to help others through similar situations, from illness to shidduchim, which means matchmaking, finding your mate, from infertility issues to children at risk and everything in between. There are hundreds of organizations that were founded by people who, instead of spending their time wallowing in self-pity, took advantage of their pain to sympathize with others and to do whatever they can to alleviate their pain. Meaning, if you went through a situation and you say, oh wow, I figured out a way, so now I'm going to help others who maybe experience the same situation. So shortly after a young Yaakov Yosef Herman moved to America, he found himself without a roof above his head. While going to sleep on a park bench, he vowed that one day when he will have a house, he will have an open-door policy so that no one else will have to experience a night on a park bench. As we all know, he fully actualized his vow, and to this day, Rav Yaakov Yosef is remembered for Zachnasas Orchim, which means welcoming people to his home. He went through a difficult situation. He didn't wallow in self-pity. Rather, he felt the pain of others, and he resolved to do what he can to alleviate their pain. When we help others, it is important that we truly experience what they are going through. When we go through a difficult situation, we should use it as a means to sympathize with others and to help them to the best of our ability. So if we go through something that we feel that we've overcome, then we should find a way that we could actually help others who are dealing with the same thing. And I hope and pray that we will all merit to live and see the coming of Mashiach speedily in our days and the rebuilding of our final and everlasting Beit HaMikdash. Amen. And thanks for watching.